Hello everyone, this is Girish Godhani and today we are here to discuss about NCERT Class 8 Geography Chapter 2, that is Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Resources. So here we begin. As we begin, the first and foremost resource that comes to our mind is land resource. So land is the resource of utmost importance. Land covers almost 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface. Characteristics for the uneven distribution of land are the land and the climate. Actually, when we talk about the population residence, so it is the land and climate which decides the how much population will reside over an area. So the places which have the topographical places like steep slopes, desert areas, thick forested areas, these areas are the sparsely populated or uninhabited. Whereas when we talk about the plains, river valleys, these offer a kind of suitable land for the agriculture, and that's why these areas are densely populated areas, the areas which are thickly populated. Then comes the land use pattern. So first let's discuss what is land use. So land is actually used for very different purposes like building roads, building houses, doing agriculture, for forestry, for mining, for building dams, etc. So that's these all things together is known as land use. Now the uses of land depends upon the two things. One is the physical factor and second is the human factor. When we talk about the physical factor, so it is the topography, soil, mineral availability, the availability of water, climate, etc. Then comes the human factors. The human factors are the population, the technology, etc. Now comes the types of land. So lands are divided into two types. That is community land and the private land. When we talk about the community land, these are the land which are owned by a group of people. When we talk about the private land, these are owned by an individual. Now comes what are the threat to environment. So when we talk about the threat to environment or the threat to land use, so that is the soil erosion, the land degradation, the landslides and the desertification. And these problems have actually occurred due to the expansion of agriculture and the constructional activities. Now let's talk about what are these problems. So when we talk about these problems are actually occurring due to the population and their ever-growing demands. We can say that forests are being decreased. The destructions of forests are there just because of the population and their demands, which is increasing day by day, due to which we are increasing the agricultural land, we are increasing the residential lands. Now, what are the methods to conserve? So the methods of conservation are afforestation, limited use of fertilizers, the land reclamation, etc. And after that land, we move to the next resource, that is soil. So soil is the thin layer of grainy substance which is covering the earth's surface. Now soil is made up of organic matter, mineral and weathered rocks. Now when we talk about the weathered rocks, what does the word weathering means? The word weathering means the breaking up and decaying of exposed rocks by the temperature changes, by the frost actions, by the plant actions, etc. Now comes the factors of soil formation. So when we talk about the factors of soil formation, so it is the nature of parent rock, the flora, the fauna, the altitude, the climatic factors, the topography, the organic matter, etc. Now comes what are the major threats to the soil. So the soil erosion and the depletion of soil is the major threat, and the factors which are leading to the soil degradation is deforestation, the overuse of chemical fertilizers, the landslides, the rain, overgrazing. These are the factors which are actually leading to the soil degradation. We learned about the soil degradation, we learned about what are the factors which forms the soil. Now it's turn to go through the soil conservation. So I will be discussing about the main 6 methods to conserve the soil, that is mulching, rock dam, terrace farming, contour plowing, intercropping and shelter beds. So first starting with the mulching. Mulching is actually in which bare ground between plants are covered with a layer of organic matter to retain the soil's moisture. And then comes the second method, that is rock dam. Now in rock dam, the rocks are piled up to slow down the flow of water and prevent the soil loss. You can see it over here. Then comes the terrace farming. The terrace farming is when the flat, steep slopes are made so that the land is available for the agriculture. And then comes the contour plowing, in which plowing is done parallel to the hill slope in order to form a natural barrier which decreases the flow of water, which works as a barrier to the flow of water. And then comes the intercropping. Intercropping, where what happens is the crops are grown in alternate rows and sown at different time to protect the soil from rainwash. Next comes the shelter beds. So in shelter beds, what's happened is dry and coastal areas where trees are planted in rows to lower down the speed of wind, which prevents the wind, and due to which what happens, the soil is not blown away by the wind. After this conservation of soil, now comes of water. So as we all know that 3/4 of the land is covered with water, and there's only just 2.7% of fresh water, out of which 70% is located in Antarctica and Greenland. We can't reach there and drink the water, isn't it? Then only 1% of the water is available for the human use. And when we talk about this, actually it is retained by the water cycle. It remains constant through the water cycle. Now what is water cycle? It is the cyclic process in which water travels in all of its forms in this environment. Now, what are the factors which are leading to the water shortage? So simple thing that we can say is urbanization, the growing population. The growing population is the only factor which is leading to the water shortage. Then comes the places of water shortage. Which are the places which have the most water shortage? So it is Africa, West Asia, South Asia, Australia, and some parts of the America. Now coming to the water and the drought and all. So water cycle may be a consequence of the variations in seasonal and annual precipitation, or overexploitation and contamination of water resources. Major contaminants of this water resources are the untreated sewage is discharged and the agricultural, chemical and industrial effluents, because these actually pollutes the water with the nitrate, metals and the pesticides. Then comes what are the ways to conserve the water. So the first and foremost ways that come to my mind is drip water irrigation, then rainwater harvesting, then sprinkler water system. And other than that, at your end, what you can do is you can check the dripping taps, you can use the bucket and the mug while bathing. You can always keep the taps well off while it is not in use. So these are some ways through which you can actually conserve the water at your end. Then comes the next resource, that is natural vegetation. So what is natural vegetation? Natural vegetation means the plants that grow by its own without the interference of human being. It is known as natural vegetation. So when we talk about the natural vegetation, it creates a kind of, it is there in the biosphere. So biosphere is the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, and it is the only zone where life exists, where the life is possible. Then comes the ecosystem. This actually the plants and animals forms an ecosystem. In biosphere, living beings are interdependent and interrelated with each other for their survival. Plants provide with the timber, shelter, fresh air, etc. And we are getting these all things just because of our national parks. You know what are national parks? The national parks are the areas which are designated to protect the ecological integrity of one or more ecosystem for present and for the future generations as well. After this, we come to the distribution of this natural vegetation. So when we talk about the distribution of natural vegetation, so natural vegetation are actually distributed on the basis of the rainfall and temperature. So major types of natural vegetations are forest, grasslands and shrubs, in which forests are grown where you will get the high rainfall and high temperature. Grasslands are there where you will find the moderate rainfall and moderate temperature, and shrubs are grown where high temperature is there but the rainfall is a little low, and these have the steep roots and leaves are having the waxy surface in order to prevent the loss of water by transpiration. After this, we come to the types of forests. So there are two types of forests. One is tropical, second is deciduous, evergreen and deciduous. Evergreen remains green throughout the year, whereas deciduous forests are the forest which actually shed their leaves in a particular season. So that's why we cannot say that they remain green throughout the year. There's a season in which they shed their leaves, whereas evergreen do not shed their leaves at all. They remain green throughout the year. Now talking about the wildlife resources. So when we talk about the wildlife resources, actually the wildlife includes animals, birds as well as the aquatic life forms. And what are the usefulness of these wildlife resources? We actually get the milk, we get the honey, we get the many kinds of hides, skins and many more products from these wildlife resources, and these are also the agents of pollination. These are also the decomposers. Now the vultures are known as natural scavengers. That's because they are the vital cleaner of the environment. They actually eat up the dead and decayed animals, and this is how they clean the environment. They keep our environment neat and clean. Then comes, how can we conserve? What are the ways that we can do? We can conserve. What are the things that we can play our roles in order to conserve the natural vegetation and wildlife resources? So the factors which are responsible for the extinction of resources are deforestation, soil erosion, constructional activities, the forest fires, tsunamis, landslides, etc. Now other than that, the poaching activities are also leading to the sharp decline of a number of species of animals. Now which are the animals which are poached? So we can say tiger, elephant, lion, crocodile, black buck, deer. These are the animals which are actually poached in a large number. And there are some measures which are taken for the conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife resources. So those are, the national parks are being made, the wildlife sanctuaries are being made, and government also have launched a lot of awareness programs like the Van Mahotsav. The school children are nowadays encouraged to go to visit this national parks, the wildlife sanctuaries, and have an experience so that they can have a connect with these national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and bird sanctuaries, etc. Now there's one thing that I wanted to mention about the conservation, which actually works for the conservation, that is CITES, 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 which is the Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. It is a kind of international agreement between the governments, and it has saved around 5,000 species of animals and 28,000 species of plants, and it's continuously working for the conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. So this is how we finish our class 8 geography chapter 2, that is land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. If you liked our video, if you found it fruitful and really interesting, then please like, comment and share your feedback with us. I'll be personally checking each and every feedback. Also don't forget to share it with your friends, share the links with your friends so that we could be encouraged. Your little efforts can encourage us for making more and more videos. Thank you and Jai Hind. See you in the next videos.